In the LCS finals, NRG shocked everyone, taking out fan favorite C9 in an exciting best-of-5 series. Heading into playoffs, the NRG roster was considered a $6 team. Take a look at this post from the LCS. Their mid and jungle, Palafox and Contracts, are considered $2 players. Their bot lane, $1 players, and their top laner, Dokla? He didn't even make the list. This tweet says, build your LCS roster with $15. Well, NRG just won the LCS with a $6 roster and a free top laner. So let's get into game and break down exactly how NRG took down C9 and became the LCS champions. Game 1 begins and C9 locking Kai'Sa. On this patch, patch 13.14, Kai'Sa is extremely overtuned and she's going to be pick or ban throughout this entire series. Next we see NRG take Zeri, and more importantly Rell. On patch 13.11, Rell was majorly buffed in the jungle, so now she can be played in support and the jungle, making it really hard to draft against her. Skipping ahead into the draft, NRG lock in Rakan, solidifying Rell for the jungle. C9 respond well here with the Nautilus. It's a powerful early game pick, so they'll be using it to secure first objectives with their winning bot lane. Jumping to NRG's 5th pick, and they lock in Lucian. Some of you guys might be thinking, Lucian mid. That hasn't been meta for a while, but it's been growing in popularity very slowly as a response to Jace. Lucian also synergizes with Rell here, as her CC provides a strong 2v2 when paired with his damage. Taking a look at the finalized drafts, I slightly favor NRG's, but draft isn't the only thing that matters in League, so let's get into game number 1. 3 minutes into the game and we've already got a set play coming in from NRG. Dokla, using his early lane advantage, has pushed 2 waves under Fudge's tower and Contracts is here to dive. But let's watch how it plays out. Ouch. So how does this go wrong? NRG know they're on a short timer here because Contracts was spotted on a ward 10 seconds earlier, so Blabber will be on his way. As they start the dive, Contracts misses his Q to a perfect E from Renekton. He hits his Rell W and then walks out of the tower at full HP, leaving Dokla to tank. This is a clear mistake from Contracts, and Blabber punishes by max range Sejuani flash Qing Dokla, and he takes an extra tower shot and eventually falls. Left in a 2v1, Contracts is going to fall as well, and this is a terrible start for NRG. A minute later, the action continues as NRG take down Eminez, another kill that has many components to it. 30 seconds prior, Palafox narrowly survived a 1v1 versus Eminez, leaving them both chunked. Then Contracts comes 20 seconds later to burn Eminez's flash. 20 seconds after that is when the kill happens. Eminez knows that Contracts is backed off because of ward in the river, so he walks forward for this cannon minion. Eminez is aware that Rakan is nearby, but he plans to use his acceleration gate to escape the gank. But Ignar plays this perfectly. As Jace is swapping to his hammer to knock back Rakan, he flash W's, making it impossible to react to, and Palafox picks up the kill. And this is a common mistake Jace players will make. You can't actually cancel a well-timed Rakan W with Jace's knockback. Let me explain. Here, Rakan's going to W straight on top of Jace. He's going to knock him back, but he still gets knocked up by the W. The reason for this is you must cancel Rakan's W before it lands, so you have to get him while he's flying. Now, the reason Jace can't do this is because his E startup time is 0.25 seconds. Now, some of you might be thinking 0.25 seconds, that's really quick. Well, for some of us, 0.25 seconds is actually a really long time. So let's not be judgmental, and let's get back to the video. Back into the game at 5:20, and it's Palafox's turn to get ganked by Sven and Blabber, setting up a dive with an easy kill for Eminez to pick up. Skipping far ahead to 23 minutes, NRG and C9 have gone back and forth throughout the entire early game trading kills, and C9 have cemented themselves a little gold lead due to their CS gaps in mid, top, and jungle. And now both teams are prepping a fight for Dragon. NRG have pushed mid lane and grouped to set up vision. Fudge has pushed bottom wave and is rotating through the NRG jungle looking for a flank. As the teams draw closer to each other, Contracts opens up onto Sven, but he leaves Palafox open to the Renekton flank. Fudge flashes onto Lucian, giving Berserker a free engage straight into the backline of NRG. FBI starts DPSing and Dokla lays down a nice ultimate, but instantly C9 engage onto the Rumble, who's been separated from his team. FBI is looking so close to popping off, but Sven and Blabber make it away thanks to the Scuttle Crab movement speed. Berserker, stuck behind enemy lines, throws the W, forcing Contracts to W, and Berserker flashes over the wall to kill Contracts and uses a perfectly timed E to dodge out Rakan's W. Eminez Qs onto the low health Dokla, killing him, and now FBI is stuck with no mobility, no flash, and he's picked off by the rest of C9. To start off this fight, Berserker was completely zoned out of the fight with zero way to DPS. If NRG just played a little bit slower and protected Palafox, they would they'd be able to push back C9 and maybe win this fight. But with that mistake, C9 take the fight 4-1, and more importantly, they walk straight through to topside and secure the Baron. 26:50 into the game, and C9 push mid and bot wave with their goal to siege the bot inhibitor using Jace Poke and Kai'Sa W's. But miraculously, before C9 can even set up, NRG find an opening, catching Eminez on the side lane with no flash. Unfortunately, Ignar makes a massive mistake here, and he uses his ultimate to pick off Eminez. Ignar using his R here wasn't necessary. Eminez has no flash, he's definitely going to go down. Now only with Rel's Magnet Storm to peel, the collapsing C9 go onto FBI with the Nautilus R. The rest of his team follows up, Fudge, Blabber CCing, giving Berserker a free engage straight into the backside, and FBI is one shot. From this point on, C9 can clean up the entire rest of NRG, and Palafox and Dokla are the only ones to survive. C9 are going for the end. Palafox walks up to the minions to try and clear them, but Blabber and Sven instantly flash on him, and he gets one shot. Dokla walks straight back forward with his flame spitter to clear the minions. Sven goes on him, he Zhonya's, and now C9 are forced to back off. NRG have one more chance to turn this game around. Jumping ahead to 3:30, Baron is respawned and there are super minions barreling into NRG's base. NRG must find an engage here before the super minions do too much damage. NRG approach C9 and Blabber throws out his ultimate to slow down the engage. Contracts from over the Baron wall finds an insane engage, and Ignar CC's Berserker to deny a counter engage. Palafox culls down Blabber, but with the remaining damage, Fudge gets onto FBI, allowing Berserker to follow up with the Killer Instinct. FBI stopwatches, drawing Dokla and Ignar to protect him. Palafox stopwatches too to avoid Nautilus ult. Eminez cleans up the NRG carries, and Fudge takes out Contracts on the backside. The remainder of NRG fall, and Fudge TPs into the NRG base to close out game 1 for C9. For game number 2, NRG are blue side, and no surprise, they lock in the Kai'Sa. C9 respond quite interestingly here with Rakan and Rel. Most teams would probably pick Xayah and Rel here to hide what role the Rel is actually playing, but this ensures C9 can pick up the Rakan, deny it from NRG, and then C9 can simply pick Xayah on the third pick. NRG then take Alistar and Jace, standard strong meta picks, and right on cue, C9 take the Xayah. After bans, Renekton comes through for Fudge, and NRG respond with Ivern to pair with the Jace. And more importantly, they lock in Jax. This secures scaling power for NRG's side in exchange for C9's early strength with the Renekton. C9 have a lot of CC on their team, so it's up to Eminez to lock in some damage. And he locks in Annie. Unfortunately, I just don't agree with this pick here. I would have loved to see something off meta such as a Victor, because C9 really needed some DPS to get through those Ivern shields. So taking a look at both teams' picks, it's a definite draft win for NRG. Let's get into game number 2. Before game 2 starts, the sponsor of the video is me. I'm a challenger player who's coached at MSI and played at Worlds as a jungler. And now I'm a full-time coach online. If improving at League and climbing ranked is something you're interested in, check out the description for more details, and let's get back to the video. Skipping far ahead, game 2 has been very boring for 20 minutes with only 5 kills the entire game. NRG were able to pick up 3 dragons with no team fights happening, but at 20:56, we see NRG make a snap call to start Baron. So let's rewind 2 minutes and see how we got here. At 19 minutes, Sven is spotted on bot side clearing vision. This is to ensure Annie has a safe time pushing bot wave, but there is a big trade-off. Ignar now gets to ward the top side for free, and Baron spawns in 1 minute while Dragon is down for over 4 minutes. So these wards from Sven are really low value. Now with Ignar's established vision control, he is going to wait in his jungle off of vision, allowing FBI to push mid. And a little bit later, we're going to see Blabber make a big mistake. Mid wave is deep pushed, everyone in NRG is off vision, and Blabber walks straight into Ignar, and now Blabber is forced to flash. With all 4 members of NRG showing though, Eminez thinks he's a little bit safe to push up bot side, but Palafox was waiting in the wings and picks up a clean solo kill. Fudge TP's down to the fight, and Palafox stopwatches perfectly during the Renekton W animation and baits out Fudge's Gore Drinker. During this stasis, Contracts is running to bot side to get a redemption down for Palafox. Now that Palafox has gained some space onto Fudge, he turns to deal some damage, baiting Renekton in as he ults and ease towards the Jace. Fudge kites back, trying to buy time for his cooldowns, but with Contracts here, Daisy slams down and he is going to pick up the kill. Now with no no C9 pressure on the map, Fudge losing his TP, Annie with no flash, and both Palafox and FBI have just hit their 2-item spike. It's a perfect time for NRG to start Baron. Contracts can place bushes all over the Baron and drop shields onto Dokla to tank the Baron, while Kai'Sa and Jace poke the approaching C9 members. NRG slowly chip down the Baron, and sadly for C9, Sven wasn't able to base and has no wards to check this Baron. NRG call to finish the Baron while Ignar keeps out the flashless Blabber. NRG all clump into the pit to secure it. Fudge pops his Dominus, corralling NRG into the pit. Sven engages onto Jace and Ivern. Eminez makes it to the fight. Dokla flashes onto Berserker, stalling a follow-up, but he has no mana to continue the threat. Berserker ultimates and he E-stuns the duo in the pit. FBI ulties straight into the back of the pit to assassinate Berserker, but the C9 AD is able to get off a bunch of damage before falling. At the same time, Palafox fell to Renekton. With the carries of NRG down and Dokla with 0 mana, NRG must retreat, and Ignar and Dokla are the only ones to escape with Baron. Ultimately, this trade does come out NRG favored, but it's still very much anyone's game. At 23 minutes 30, C9 are forced to contest the dragon as NRG sit on Soul Point. C9 start the dragon as Dokla is slow to join. Sven contests Ignar on the flank, and Dokla TPs straight into the pit to allow his team to press forward. As the Drake gets lower, Eminez flash stuns Kai'Sa and Ivern, and Blabber follows up with the Rel CC. Berserker stays on the dragon and finishes it off. Dokla dives straight onto Berserker, allowing the NRG carries to finish off Eminez, and Dokla stopwatches, buying time for his carries to get to him. Contracts flash E's to save him, and Palafox finds a QE flash combo to assassinate Berserker on the side. With the carries down, NRG chase down C9 and clean them up 5 for 1. They did lose the dragon, but with a superior team comp and a nearly 7k gold lead after this play, they get another pick, they secure Baron, they get the Dragon Soul, and NRG close out game 2 without C9 getting another kill. Game 3, and surprise, surprise, C9 are on blue side and they lock in Maokai? No Kai'Sa? Why is Maokai locked here instead of Kai'Sa? Well, throughout this entire series, NRG have banned Maokai, but this game, they let him through. The reason NRG banned Maokai is due to the fact that Blabber is 14-0 on the champion throughout this entire year. Maokai pairs incredibly well with many of the top tier mids on this patch, such as Tristana and Jace, so now NRG decide to ban Jace instead, alongside the Tristana and LeBlanc ban they already had from game 1. This is a smart adaptation from NRG. Eminez has looked weak this series and is struggling versus Palafox, so if you take away his best mid laners, it's a point of weakness that NRG can exploit. Skipping ahead, we see NRG take Jax on 3. Again, this is smart drafting. NRG assume Fudge is going to default to Renekton, so they may as well take the good matchup for Jax now. But on 4th pick, Fudge switches things up and he locks in Aatrox. A pick with huge team fighting potential, but it's quite vulnerable in the early game. Eminez takes Ahri, so Palafox has counter pick. And he locks in Talia? Wow, this is a damn good pick. She's not super popular at the moment, but look at her value here. She stops Ariel, Zeri E, Alistar Engage, Aatrox Dash, all with her Unraveled Earth. If you could put this pick in a tier list right now, it'd be Z tier for this game. Now with Talia locked in, looking at the comps, it's another NRG draft win heading into game 3. Game 3 starts off hot with a solo kill from Dokla for first blood. Contracts burnt Fudge's flash earlier with a gank, so with flash advantage, Dokla was able to take it from here. I actually reached out to Dokla in the process of making this video, and he kindly gave me some information on this solo kill, stating all that he needed to do was wait for enough mana to go all in. Once in the long lane with a flash advantage in this matchup, it's a textbook solo kill. So thanks Dokla for the response, and let's continue. Right after Fudge went down to Dokla, C9 have started up the dragon, but NRG don't want to give it for free. Palafox finds a great wall which cancels Alistar's W, and Sven waits forever to flash out, takes a ton of damage, and is eventually going to fall to NRG. C9 disengage, but they still have Ariel, and Palafox is almost out of mana, so they're looking for a re-engage. But look at this. Jax from nowhere flies out of the bush, stunning both of them. Blabber falls, Eminez ults out, and the fight is sealed alongside the dragon for NRG. And holy moly, this is a top gap coming out of Dokla. What kind of top laner is at the dragon at 6 minutes? This is just so unexpected. I don't even blame C9 here, but let's break down how Dokla made it to this fight. First of all, he gets a really clean base timing due to his solo kill. And as Dokla's leaving the base before the dragons even started, he's walking towards his jungle. The reason he does this is because he has no top wave to attend to. So you'll see a lot of high level top top laners in solo queue, pro play, all across the world will run into their own jungle. There's many reasons for this. You can gank mid, you can deny the enemy jungler if they're invading, you can get vision. There's a lot you can do, so this is a really good tip for you top laners out there. If you have Prior, you don't have a wave to go to, run straight down into your jungle. And specifically in this game, because C9 pull the dragon, Dokla can take a minor detour and go straight to the dragon. This doesn't happen a lot in games, but it's a great play from Dokla to see it. And to top things off, Dokla helps his team finish the dragon and then TP straight back to top lane to eat all the minions that Fudge has pushed into his tower. Honestly, if this was a scrim, I think most teams would just remake at this point because this is a really catastrophic position to be in. And Kai'Sa has 2 kills on top of that. But I've spoken too soon. Skipping to 17 minutes 30 and C9 have dragged themselves back into the game. NRG made countless mistakes, very basic deaths giving over to C9. There's not too much to review except NRG just walked in and died. And now both teams are looking to fight Chemtech Dragon, and Eminez makes this play.
All right, a lot of summoner spells up. Eminez goes in. He tries to find a charm, but instead, he just delivers himself to death. Almost straight back for Igna, but he escapes back underneath the tier 1 turret. NRG are able to fire back as Dokla occupies.
Somehow, one of the worst plays of all time ends up with a 1-for-1, but then FBI activates his secret weapon.
1-for-1 overall, but FBI jumps in. The killer instinct, Berserker is down. The Zeri is gone.
So let me explain why this combo is pretty unfair to play against and how it actually works. So to kick things off, FBI has gotten 2 plasma stacks onto Berserker. All you need is 1 to begin this combo. Start by R'ing towards your opponent and W'ing while mid-flight. As you land, your W will instantly cast and then you can auto Q to deal max damage. You can see how frustrating this combo is to face as it's incredibly hard to counter. And that's why Kai'Sa is pick or ban. Now with Berserker falling, C9 must retreat and NRG secure their second dragon. 23 minutes into the game and we see NRG setting up Baron Vision. This is quite interesting because Dragon is up in less than 20 seconds. C9 spot FBI basing late at 23:10. And with this information, Fudge backs off and goes straight to the Dragon. But NRG are planning to sneak Baron. By FBI showing on the midwave with no intention to move towards Baron, C9 are lulled into a false sense of security. Contracts and Ignar have also been showing around the mid lane to further sell this facade. Once NRG are certain C9 are committed to the Dragon, Dokla starts hitting the Baron. With the combined damage of Sejuani E's and Jack's autos, with a little extra damage from Talia, this trio is enough to sneak the Baron while FBI shows on the mid lane again. By the time C9 start to realize NRG can be on Baron, it's already too late, and Baron goes to NRG. This is great acting from the NRG roster, but also it's a terrible blunder by C9. Starting early Barons is something you see across many other regions, so not being prepared for something like this must feel very bad for the C9 players. Skipping ahead through the rest of the game, and NRG have won team fights back to back to back. They secured Dragon, Baron, and a Dragon Soul. Now with a 13k gold deficit and level discrepancies in all roles except ADC, C9 are forced to contest Elder Dragon. C9 start the Elder, Palafox walls them apart, and NRG approach. Sven flashes onto FBI. FBI cleanses, ultis, and Zhonya's. Berserker kites down, waiting for FBI. FBI instantly flashes out. Blabber chases him and is chopped down by the Kai'Sa. Berserker hits FBI over the wall. Berserker chases after FBI and trades his life to take him down. But the remaining NRG members are too strong and the rest of C9 are falling. A valiant effort from C9, but this game is sealed. A major thing to point out this match was FBI. He finished the game with 16 kills and 1 death. An exceptional performance from him, and now heading into game number 4, NRG are on match point. Starting off the draft, things get shaken up again. NRG go back to the Maokai ban, but more importantly, C9 ban Kai'Sa on blue side. This may seem crazy, but I think it plays to C9's strengths. Berserker is a powerhouse for C9 and has the ability to 1v9. After Kai'Sa and Zyra are banned, this leaves up Zeri and Aphelios as the next best ADCs, and Berserker has been phenomenal on these champions throughout the entire year. NRG take the Zeri, so I'm expecting a C9 Aphelios here. But they lock in Rumble and Yone. I did not expect this, but I still think it's good for C9. Eminez has not looked hot on his AP champions this series, so Yone is a good way to shake things up. NRG follow up with the Jax. It doesn't lane well into Rumble, but due to Dokla's success on the champion, it makes sense to keep the comfort rolling. Skipping ahead into the draft, and NRG take Alistar, so it's C9's turn to respond with their bottom lane. And they lock in Draven Renata, an incredibly strong 2v2, but I don't know how these champions will scale as the game goes on. NRG with Alistar and Jax are going to be a huge problem for this Draven if he doesn't start snowballing. But now we're at the 5th and final pick, and Palafox does it again. He locks in Nico. Look at C9's composition. All of those champions are incredibly low range. Nico, she can proto belt, disguise, or flash engage. It's so hard for C9 to counter this. I'm actually uncertain if this game is winnable for C9 if they don't snowball the early game. So again, it's an NRG draft win as we head into game number 4. 3 minutes into the game and the bot lane is already looking spicy. C9 have burnt Alistar's flash and ignite in exchange for Berserker's summoners. Blabber is bot side and he's looking to dive the enemy bot lane who are level 2. Approaching the dive, Sven makes a grave mistake. He walks up as his melee minion is dying and takes tower aggro before his caster minions can catch up. He's forced to flash out and C9 back off the dive. This is an insanely big mistake as Draven would have surely been able to cash in on Alistar and start his snowball to win this game. 50 seconds later, NRG look to make a counterplay on top side. Fudge's wave is pushed up, so he knows he's susceptible for a gank. He places a nice ward in river trying to spot out Contracts, but Contracts makes a really smart play here. He jumps back into his own jungle to avoid the ward and is going to gank through the tri-bush. Dokla takes an early trade here, whittling down Fudge for the gank, but he ends up just baiting Fudge in. Fudge is trying to deny this cannon minion and he walks forward onto Dokla. Here's Contracts for the gank. Fudge flashes late and is hit by the Rel remount, followed by an easy Q stun, and Fudge is doomed. This is tragic stuff across the board for C9. Fudge knew Contracts was topside, spotting him in his own jungle just a minute prior, and the wave was coming towards him. If he just waited for the wave to come in, there would be no way he dies to a gank. These mistakes are not looking good for C9. But 10 minutes into the game, and C9 have done it again. They've scraped back the gold lead, punishing 2 misplays from Palafox. He died mid lane for the first one, and then wasted his ult before a Herald fight, allowing C9 to get a free Herald. With this extra confidence, C9 are pushing their bot wave and are getting ready to start the dragon. But NRG are ready to counter. Palafox is ready to TP on a ward that was snuck behind the C9 bot lane. Contracts is sitting on a blast cone ready to follow up. And as soon as Palafox's TP starts coming in, Igna flash engages onto the C9 bot lane. And from here, there's nothing else to say, but they're doomed. Worst of all for C9, there is absolutely no rebuttal. Again, Dokla comes in clutch for NRG. He's pushed his top wave and now he's roamed mid, collecting the mid wave and denying any plating gold from Eminez. Usually when a play like this happens, you can get some kind of trade for tower plates or jungle camps, but here, NRG just have everything covered. 14 minutes 30 and it's time to heat things up. NRG are looking for a play bot side. FBI and Contracts are heading bot. Ignar is in the sidelines waiting for Dokla to push a wave, and Palafox is hiding as a minion ready to dive Fudge. This is looking scary, but C9 are not going down that easily. Eminez has stuck himself into the side bush after faking a recall. Dokla jumps in early to get a trade onto Fudge, but the unexpected Eminez is here to counter. Palafox ultis and Eminez perfectly R's, buffering the knockup, hitting both Jax and Nico for a swift double kill. But with no cooldowns left, NRG are here to punish. Eminez stalls NRG with a knockup and flashes out, but Fudge is left like a sitting duck, and FBI finishes him off. But the play doesn't stop here, and C9 have responded very well. Blabber denied a top wave during the fight, the C9 bot lane are taking mid tower, and then Blabber has now moved down to Herald to secure that as well. All of this for Fudge and Eminez to trade 2-for-1 against 5 NRG members. This is a great momentum shift for C9, and Eminez is online with 3 kills. 1650 and Palafox is picked off again. Eminez is 4-0, and this might be going to game 5. But I've spoken too soon. C9 have gotten too greedy and they pushed the Herald for the 2nd tier tower. They used all of their ultimates to kill Palafox, and now NRG can respond. Ignar engages onto Eminez, Contracts follows up with a flash W, and FBI is going to pick up the scraps, securing an 850 gold shutdown straight into his piggy bank, and he was already 2-0 before this. This game is becoming FBI versus Eminez. Who's going to carry harder? But a minute later, it's C9's time to start the Baron, and NRG are here to fight. C9 are looking for the finish as Dokla TPs in. Blabber ults Contracts to deny the steal, but he perfectly Ws to buffer the stun to make it into the pit. Blabber smites early and Contracts steals the Baron. Palafox comes in from the flank, forcing C9 back. Eminez ults out to avoid any NRG damage follow-up. Sven ults the grouped members in the Baron pit. Fudge and Blabber finish off Palafox. Both teams are tethering each other's range, baiting one another in, and eventually NRG just back off and take their Baron victory. Now, some of you might be thinking, damn, Blabber really choked that smite. But let's actually take a look at the intricacies to see what happened. Rel has an insane smite secure. Her E gives a ton of bonus damage to monsters, so at this exact moment in game, her QE smite combo does 1,876 damage to Baron. Therefore, Blabber had no way of winning the smite. He smited early, praying that Contracts would mess it up, but he doesn't. So now you know to never smite fighter Rel. The game ends up stalling for another 10 minutes with NRG slowly breaking the C9 base and getting another Baron from a Palafox pick onto Berserker. But still here at 37 minutes, the game is relatively even. The gold is close and the team levels are close, so this is truly up to the carries of C9 or NRG. Dragon is spawning in 10 seconds and so is Baron. C9 decide to make their way to the Baron and force NRG to respond. C9 have committed to the Baron while Dokla is hitting Dragon, but NRG want this fight, so Dokla starts to TP in. Eminez finds a great engage onto FBI and Ignar. Eminez ults out to avoid the NRG follow-up, and Palafox blast cones into the Baron, flashing onto Berserker. The Baron goes to C9, and Sven ults to disengage, but FBI cleanses and flashes straight through onto the chunked Berserker. C9 have been divided by the Jax flank, the Nico engage, and their sitting ducks for the FBI firing squad. Eventually, NRG chase down Eminez, Berserker, and eventually Fudge too. And NRG, the 5th place team, a new org to the league with a roster who everyone doubted, win the LCS. They topple a truly dominant C9 organization. And to wrap things up, let's just look at how damn good Palafox's smile is. Congratulations to the NRG players and a huge shout out to their staff. They had some incredible drafts this series. They must be pretty damn good, and I must be a pretty damn good coach. Before FBI went to NA, I used to compete against him when I was a professional player myself. So if you have any interest in improving at League of Legends, check out my website, udysof.com, linked in the description, and thank you for watching the video.